Ariana, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I am like you, a Love Island super fan. So this was a very exciting interview for me today.
Oh, I love to hear that. Yeah, I think it's the best. So me and you are on the same page.
Love it. So let me ask you, did being a super fan going into this show, how did that influence your approach to hosting?
I think it made things it was a very exciting, positive experience for me because I was really happy and excited to be there and to be able to be a part of the whole experience and to be able to see how the sausage is made in some ways too was very exciting for me. So I think it really added to the entire experience of being able to host for the first time.
Do you remember what that first day in Fiji was like for you?
Oh my gosh, I'm not sure. Well, the first day was definitely not the first day that I was doing anything that I wasn't working the first day, thank God. So I was definitely getting acclimated. I do remember one of my first experiences being in Fiji. Well, first of all, I got off the plane. Well, let's rewind it back. I guest hosted twice. So I was very familiar with, getting off the plane. There's someone there holding a sign that says, I got a text. Um, and going through that whole process of being in Fiji, flying to Fiji, I'd done that before. But what was new and exciting about this was that because I was there before the season started, all of these potential islanders are already sequestered in the hotel, and I was staying in the same hotel as them. So I would be, walking to the restaurant or walking to the gym or something, and I would see someone, and my boyfriend Dan was with me, and we would joke that we could always tell who was like a potential islander or not because it would be a very attractive person, most likely in some sort of bathing suit or cover up, or if it was a guy, like no shirt on. And they were always with someone who's having had a fanny pack because they always had to have a crew member with them. And so it was like the handlers always had like they're covered head to toe and they have fanny packs. And you could always tell those are the Islanders. And it was really fun to see because I would wonder, am I going to see them in the villa or not? And some of them I did, and some of them I didn't.
Wow. You're like, we're gonna be friends.
Yeah, well, I'm not allowed to talk to them. So I would just be like, at one point, I remember I was in the gym, I was on the treadmill, and there was a girl next to me on one of the treadmills. And I just knew, I was like, oh my gosh, she's an Islander. I was like, I wonder if she even knows that I'm, you know, gonna host or hosting. Like, it was crazy. It was a crazy experience. Yeah.
I have to say, I've loved seeing you as host. You have such a personable feeling about you.
Oh,
Like
thank you.
your your relationships, like especially this season during Casa Amor, I felt like you were really supporting the girls and you held the boys accountable. How was it for you navigating those challenging moments?
Well, it's really hard because I think, well, one of the misconceptions is that, there's like cheating going on. No one is boyfriend and girlfriend, unless maybe they decided, which we would have known that before going to Casa if people were boyfriend and girlfriend. But it's certainly not a nice experience to be on either side. And it's hard and it's weird. It's obviously kind of where you get into the social experiment part of Love Island. And then you have the girls, the Casa girls and the Casa guys who, you know, they're here to find love as well. And they're put in this position of having to kind of try to break up these somewhat established connections potentially. So it's a very complicated, kind of muddy situation from all sides. And my perspective on the whole thing, as a longtime viewer of watching many Casa Amores on many iterations of Love Island, is that if you're being honest and open and transparent with either the person you're coupled up with, and with the Casa contestants or however you want to call them, then I feel like you're in the clear because you're being open and honest with your feelings, and you're also being upfront with whoever you're coupled up with. this is where I feel like people get into trouble because so many people are not open and honest, or they kind of lead someone to think one thing, and then all of a sudden, when they're presented with something shiny and new, things change. So yeah, it's tough. And I remember the recoupling. I knew ahead of time, like the choices that they had said they were going to make. And so when the guys were walking in, I knew a little bit of what they would be walking into. And I mean, I was so proud of the girls because the OG girls, because I felt like when Kaylor chose herself in that moment and said, I'm just going to be single, I absolutely loved it. I love how the girls all had each other's backs. Serena, so iconic. I can't speak highly enough of her Casa Amor recoupling moment. I just thought these are women who are able to say, this is what I know that I want, what I know that I deserve, and I'm going to stand up for that. And obviously, things transpired after that. But I think in that moment, the way that they all stood up for themselves and for each other, I think was really iconic. Um, and yeah, I was really, really proud of them. Like, it's not like they're not my it's like I feel like I know them so well because I've been watching them all summer. And yeah, I just thought that was really cool. And I watched them and I'm like, wow, I wish I was that strong at that age.
It's wild because that's what the show does. I mean, you really start to feel you're watching these things play out, and that was what was so special about this season is exactly like you said, watching these women actually speak their minds. And I feel like you were a huge part of that because you guided them, you supported them, you were with them through the journey. So I felt like it was just I don't know, a really beautiful balance between you and
Oh, thank you.
Ella.
It's something I wanted to. We don't get a lot of time to interact when I'm in the villa, and I have to be very much unbiased, at least outwardly unbiased. But there was something that I remember I said to Kaylor, but I feel like that goes for everybody, is that no matter what happens, you are going to be okay. So, and if someone shows you their colors, that's a gift. And you get to say, okay, now I know that I don't want this person. So it's hard in the moment, but and I really do feel like they were all able to find that. And I look at them now and I just feel like they're so cool. They're such stars.
What do you think made this season so incredibly successful?
I think it was the cast's ability to be really authentic in every single moment and unfiltered in so many ways. I think the music, in my opinion, is something that made it really, really incredible. The Music Supervisors Guild, Love Island won a major award for the music this year, as they very much should. So incredible. The way that the crew turns these episodes out in sometimes 24 hours, maybe less than 24 hours, and they're able to really follow these stories and develop these arcs with all of them is amazing. I do think, I've seen people say like, well, we've never watched it before. We tuned in because Ariana was hosting, but then it's really the cast and it's really, all of these relationships that developed that really kept people sticking around.
I have to backtrack to that music part because that's all my Shazam.
Yeah.
Every time I'm like, oh, this is
Yes. And
yeah.
it was crazy because some of these songs that were being used on the show were so huge at the time. They were, Sabrina Carpenter had just come out with all these iconic songs. It was Brat Summer, and the Islanders had no idea because they couldn't hear any of that music. So that was one thing I was very excited for them when they got out. I was like, you guys have so much new music to listen to.
So what did being a host open your eyes to? Like coming from that place of being a fan to being a host, what did you learn about this whole experience?
Oh my gosh. I really think I learned a lot in a lot of different ways. I learned a lot about, again, how this show is created, how the show is able to go from 5, 10 islanders entering a villa and turn into this amazing, beautiful production. I learned a lot about what it means to be a host of a show. I learned a lot about coming in and owning a space. And sometimes that's me, playing a bit of a character version of myself. And that can be really fun. And I think yeah, I really learned what it is to, I'm not the showrunner, but at the same time, in your head, you have to say, this is my villa, and with that comes a bit of a different air to the way that I'm speaking and acting. And sometimes I wish I could be like, guys, it's really okay. Like, I'm not mad. But, and it's tough too. I've learned a lot about how to maybe not show my biases, but I definitely have them.
What were the moments that really took you for surprise?
Oh my gosh. There's one moment that sticks out to me from the season that I think is really a really beautiful display of a woman expressing her feelings and taking charge. And that is when Serena and Cordell were walking all over the villa. And her girls, Leah and Janae, were there for her, supporting her. And they had that moment on the dock. And it looked like something out of a Nicholas Sparks movie. She had a tear on her cheek, and the light, and the way that she stood up for herself and for what she wanted and believed, and the way that he let her do that. He let her speak her mind. He took what she was giving him about her feelings, and obviously ultimately they ended up together. They won the whole season. But to me, that was it was a beautiful display of her being able to voice her feelings, and of him being supportive of that, regardless of whether or not he was on not the bad end of the stick of that. And there's so many little moments. There's tiny moments of, Serena's braiding Cordell's hair. I thought that was one of the most beautiful things. The girls' friendships, when PPG is up on the balcony and they're talking about, when they had the family phone calls, my sister said, you guys are my sisters, until that to me was so beautiful. The female friendships um, blew me away. So there's a lot. Like I really could go through every episode and pinpoint little things. Honestly, the other thing, it was hilarious. It was so freaking funny. The little things, Cordell talking about wanting to have a sponsorship with Cheez-Its, which he did get. I'm very happy for him. He did get that. Um, Cordell telling Kendall he doesn't have a clown nose. You have your nose. Just it's such a great show to me because I feel like it really covers so many bases of what I want when I watch any kind of reality show, which is there's hard moments, there's really touching moments, and then there's just a lot of fun. And it's so beautiful. So it to me is everything.
I was going to say on that note, Rob's overalls, the Rob's overalls.
I was so sick of seeing those overalls.
You know, you had a thing in there with the trying to get rid of the overalls.
I'm like, why? Why? Like, did he lose his suitcase? Why does he only have one clothing item?
He trademarked it. We brought back the trend.
Yeah, you know what? When you got a thing, that's your thing, go with it.
So speaking of trends, on that note, it's Love Island. There's so many trendy catchphrases, right? I got a
Mm.
text. He gave me the ick. If you could come up with a catchphrase for last season,
Ooh.
what would it be?
Oh my gosh. You know what? It's less of a oh, it's yeah. there's a couple. There's Leah's now you're sending three home, which is the funniest. And also when Serena said, "You made your bed, now hump in it." Those are two of my absolute favorites from last season.
That line is iconic. That's so good. I also want to know, with all of the little like intimate spaces with the hideaway and soul ties, if you could name another secluded place of the villa,
Ooh,
something special, what would it be?
ooh. Well, I love like treehouse vibes. So, picture it would be up somewhere kind of in the trees. And I guess if you could call it like the loft or something. Yeah. That would be loft. You call it lofty goals.
Ariana, I love that.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, cool.
Get the neon sign ready.
Oh my gosh, that's so good. Um, there's obviously we're all waiting for what's next with Beyond the Villa, and now you've got the Love Island games and everything combined with this Love Island universe. What what do you love most about being a part of all of this?
I, as a fan of the show, I love being able to be a part of something that I also just absolutely love to watch. I think it adds a level of fun and excitement that not everybody gets to have with their jobs. And, people are on shows sometimes and they're like, yeah, I don't really, maybe it's not really my thing. You hear about that all the time. And I'm just like very honored to be a part of it. And, something that I think is true about Love Island versus there's so many dating shows now, right? And some of them are social experiment based, some of them are, things like The Bachelor, The Bachelorette. And something that makes me really proud and excited to be a part of Love Island is that I truly believe that it is one of the most real when it comes to the way that people are getting to know each other and deciding at the end of the show if they want to date each other or not. There's no pressure to be engaged after knowing each other for 6 weeks, which to me seems super unrealistic. And they're living together, they're they're doing all these things together. And to me, it feels like, as far as dating shows go on television, I think it is one of the most real, if not the most real. And I'm proud to be a part of that. I think you see how close friends people still are and these relationships that are still going. And I think that's testament to that.
Absolutely. Everybody last season was very open and authentic and vulnerable. And yeah, like I said, I love that you were kind of just that guiding light through it. It was really cool to watch. It was really cool.
Thank you. I hope that next season, I hope that they don't feel, whoever's coming in for season 7 doesn't feel pressured to try to be something that happened in season 6. I think that's where they'll get into trouble in terms of not connecting maybe with viewers and not connecting with each other. I think that if everyone just continues to be authentic, be vulnerable, and be open, I think that it'll be a really great season again.
Yeah, totally. So quickly, I would love to do some trivia with you, some awards buzz trivia. We could run.
Okay, sure.
We'll just we'll have some fun with it.
Who knows how I'll do, but I'm ready.
Well, all right, let's see. This is going to be, well, this one is totally your call. Let's see how you do with this. Uh, who would win the award for most likely to be caught sneaking around Casa Amor?
Oh, maybe Aaron, just based on last season, obviously. I
Oh,
think he was already sneaking around Casa.
yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
Um, okay. From this season, would you say there was a best reality TV crossover moment?
Ooh, I loved when Katie came and was on AfterBuzz with us, or AfterBuzz, After Sun with us. I thought that was an amazing crossover. I loved getting to hear her thoughts on everything that had transpired. I loved hearing her perspective on everything.
Okay, which couple had the most shocking breakup that you actually saw coming?
Oh, that I saw coming. Oh, I think maybe early on, I think the Rob and Leah thing was shocking, but I think I did see it coming because I was able to see some of the conversations that he was having with the other girls that she obviously wasn't able to see. She can't be a fly on the wall, like we're privy to so much more either as viewers or like when I'm in glam I have the live feeds on in the glam room. So I think that's the answer for that one.
Okay, most unexpected glow up.
Ooh, unexpected glow up. I don't know if so unexpected, but I think with Taylor, when she, stepped into her truth and her power and walked away from the bad situation that she was in that was not good for her. Um, yeah, I really liked that.
Okay, best Ariana reaction moment.
Oh, well, to live it was maybe when Andrea and Nicole came in and I sat there and watched this blindfolded, tied up make out situation that in real life was crazy. So like inner reacting to that was wild. I think that when you're watching it, it's maybe, when I told Aaron that we have all the time in the world, because I really did mean it. I was like, whatever you're going to say, I want to be here for it too. So speak up.
I love it. You made this season so wonderful. I can't wait to see what's happening next season. This is
I
like so exciting. I'm like, summer needs to get here now. Uh,
know, me too. I'm like very excited.
well, thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with us today. It's been a blast.
Thank you. You too.